There are many points raised. I will attempt to address all of them holistically, and I will group the issues raised thematically and, of course, reply to the questions as best as possible. I've decided to group it into 8 broad pillars. First, why this merger? Why now? Second, raising the quality as well as the forms of training. 3, connecting training to matching them to good jobs. 4, catering to diverse and ever-changing needs. 5, become even more proactive and to provide anticipatory support. 6, what are the measures, the outcome measures of success? 7, the governance of the new merged entity. And of course, 8, last but not least, on transition and continuity. So, why this merger and why now? First, I would like to address some fundamental questions raised over the purpose of this merger. In particular, Mr. Gerald Giam characterized the merger as a reversal of the position from 2016. I disagree with this characterization. It is more important to ask if the restructuring in 2016 was the right call then, and whether the merger moving forward is the right call now and for the future. Now, the answer to both questions is yes. Let me explain. The restructuring in 2016 allowed SSG and WSG to develop specialized capabilities in adult training and employment facilitation, respectively. The House then supported the SkillsFuture Singapore Agency Bill in 2016. Mr. Giam's former colleague, Mr. Leon Pereira, supported the aim to bring about a far-reaching change in our adult education and training landscape by establishing an agency that is solely focused on adult education in ways that are intimately linked to economic goals. This is in the Hansard. SSG has achieved that aim. Through SSG's nexus with the Ministry of Education, the IHLs have become the key pillars of CET delivery today. Meanwhile, WSG expanded public employment services and introduced new programs to address mismatches. Both agencies have substantially achieved the objectives of the restructuring. Earlier on, when I gave the speech, I elaborated extensively on the achievements of SSG and WSG. Now, as for why the merger is the right decision today, let me quote John Maynard Keynes, which is the father of macroeconomics. When the facts change, I change my mind. Members of the House, with the rapid advances in AI, with technology disruptions happening at a rapid pace and mounting geopolitical disruptions, our operating reality has changed significantly, and so must we. The next bound of our workforce strategy requires an end-to-end system that connects skills to jobs more quickly and more accurately than before. It requires a more integrated structure so that we can be more agile and nimble in predicting, in preempting, and preparing for new opportunities and disruptions. It also requires a greater variety, a greater volume of services to meet the ever more complex and diverse needs of workers and their employers. So hence, in addition to delivering better services and programs, SWDA has an expanded mandate to develop the broader career, employment, and training ecosystem in Singapore, supporting innovative solutions and improving access to quality services. This is what will make SWDA more than the sum of its parts. To address Mr. Saktiandi Supat's question, This is the key function in the SWDA bill, which goes beyond those in the SSG and the WSG Act. Now, at the same time, we must not lose the specialized capabilities that we've built over the past 10 years. Mr. Sean Low rightly highlighted the importance of preserving the strong relationship between IHLs and the SkillsFuture movement. And Associate Professor Terence Ho asked, how will we ensure that IHLs will continue to develop as institutions of lifelong learning? Through the Ministry of Education's joint oversight of SWDA, we will continue to deepen this relationship, strengthen complementarity between IHLs and the private training providers, and improve coordination between CET and pre-employment training. To address Ms. He Ting Ru's question on how SWDA might manage the reporting relationship to two ministries, MOM will be the parent ministry of SWDA. But the joint oversight arrangement with MOE, that means between myself and Minister Desmond, will bring the IHLs into closer alignment with our workforce agenda, ensuring that skills development is pursued in a coherent way. Members of the House, this is not a two-headed monster. This is a two-horse chariot pulling in the same direction, charging ahead. Oh. Thank you. Mr. Supat and Mr. Giam asked about the costs. The 2016 restructuring of WDA into two separate statutory boards did not require additional funding from the Ministry of Finance. Similarly, the merger will also not require additional budget allocation. There'll be costs, there'll be some costs incurred for branding, marketing, and systems integration. These costs would have been budgeted for any regular refreshes, even if there was no merger. These costs will be managed within the existing budgets of SSG and WSG and their reserves. On the second point, raising the quality and the focus of training, Ms. Gozugi asked about the curation of SkillsFuture courses. She's right that not everything in the SkillsFuture catalogue has been directed towards our workforce development goals. But SkillsFuture is much more than just training for the industry. SkillsFuture is a national movement to promote a culture of lifelong learning. Cultivating the habit of lifelong learning matters. Remember, I kept emphasizing early on about getting everyone to have that mindset change. So, how do we initiate them? How do we start them into that habit? That matters. Now, in response to Associate Professor Ho's question, lifelong learning that is not targeted at employment will still come under SWDA's purview. SWDA will work with agencies such as the People's Association on the curation of such programs. And we encourage all Singaporeans to learn not just for their current job or the next job, but also in their areas of interest. Not all training leads to immediate employment and wage gains. And so, the SkillsFuture catalogue includes some interest-based courses. However, when it comes to funding, we do make a distinction, a very clear distinction, between industry-oriented and interest-based courses. While the base tier of SkillsFuture credit is applicable to a wide range of courses, including those for personal interests, government funding for course fees is only applicable for courses that offer skills relevant to that specific industry, which will support the workforce upskilling needs. The additional SkillsFuture credit for mid-careerists is further scoped to courses that meet more stringent criteria on employability outcomes and industry relevance. On the third group, connecting and matching training to good jobs. It is essential that SWDA's good work is closely linked to industry and of top-tier quality. I would like to address two misconceptions from Mr. Kenneth Tiong's speech. First, unlike what Mr. Tiong shared earlier on, there are significant guardrails to ensuring that SkillsFuture courses are top quality, with industry playing a big role in ensuring the relevance of training. Our trade associations and chambers, professional bodies, they come together to help curate and signpost courses. And some employers serve as SkillsFuture queen bees to provide training for other companies, including SMEs in their respective sectors. As SWDA, we will work with industry to play an even bigger role. Which also brings me to my second point. I think Mr. Tiong perhaps may not have fully understood he has oversimplified SkillsFuture. It is not just an individual credit scheme. SkillsFuture sits alongside the SkillsFuture Enterprise Credit, which employers can use to send their workers for training. These employers and individuals need to co-pay for training programs, whether through their credits or out of pocket, and they must also invest their time and effort. This creates skin in the game. Companies and workers must choose the best courses worth their while, and training providers must regularly up the game to compete. And government, of course, plays a role in regulating the provider, the cost, and adult educator as well. And as pointed out by Ms. Jessica Tan, our success depends on the ecosystem, on the individuals, employers, and other stakeholders and partners playing a big role. This ecosystem is therefore central to the SkillsFuture movement and will continue to be so under SWDA. As Mr. Darrell David rightly pointed out, SkillsFuture is fundamentally an instrument of economic mobility and employability. This now brings me to the core of SWDA's mandate, and that is to support Singaporeans at every stage of their careers through promoting lifelong learning, strengthening their career health, and enhancing access to good jobs. Dr. Wan Rizal identified two distinct gaps that SWDA must close: the first job gap for fresh graduates and the career transition gap for mid-careerists. Mr. Darrell David highlighted that students often make decisions about courses and career pathways without a clear understanding of labour market realities. Mr. Patrick Tay, Mr. Desmond Chu, and Ms. Jessica Tan also raised concerns on how SWDA will support entry-level hiring amidst business restructuring and AI-driven change. On supporting fresh graduates to get their first jobs, I agree with Dr. Wan Rizal and Mr. Darrell David that we cannot wait until students graduate before we intervene. SWDA will work with IHLs and MOE to bring industry exposure upstream so that our students can have a clearer picture of the labour market well before they graduate. I'm not confident that we can go all the way to secondary school, as suggested by a member here, but we certainly will go upstream to bring that industry exposure to our undergraduates. So this means more systematic pathways into industry attachments and clearer signals on skills and roles in demand. At the same time, we will review measures to better support graduates who face difficulties in securing employment. To support mid-careerists to chart their careers amidst a fast-evolving world, SWDA will empower them to take charge and strengthen their career health. We will make good quality career guidance services more accessible to the broad middle of workers and equip them with data-driven insights on jobs and skills so that they can undertake the right training that connects them to the opportunities that they are seeking. We will look at tying course funding more closely to demand signals so that the training translates into better career prospects. The calls from Mr. Darryl David, Mr. Yip Hon Wing, Mr. Sean Low, and Associate Professor Ho to tighten the nexus between training grants and employment outcomes are directionally aligned with our plans. Dr. Neo Kok Beng's suggestion that for SWDA to partner professional institutions to align training to professional accreditations will also help to ensure that the skills acquired are recognized by the industry and can pave the way for career progression. We are also supporting Singaporeans to acquire the skills and the perspectives needed for a globalized economy. The OMIT, or Overseas Market Immersion Program, that Mr. Tiong talked about allows companies to send Singaporeans on overseas postings to build first-hand knowledge of international markets and bring these insights back home. We agree that such schemes can be made accessible to benefit even more Singaporeans. And we have announced at COS this year that we will be expanding OMIP to young professionals even earlier in their careers. Supporting our workers to acquire skills, experience, and career agility is only part of the equation. To maximize their potential, workers must also be able to signal their skills and experience to employers. Be matched to jobs that make use of these skills and experience and to be rewarded fairly. So to this end, SWDA will also work to reduce information asymmetries in the labor market to facilitate more efficient job matching. mycareersfuture.gov.sg will continue to be our national jobs bank, where good jobs are visible, they are accessible, and they are intelligently matched to job seekers. To strengthen the pipeline of quality job listings, MOM, SWDA, and sector agencies will work together to encourage more companies to list vacancies on the portal. Today, there are already over 60,000 job postings published on My Careers Future. We aspire to reach 100,000 job postings in 12 months from SWDA's establishment. We have forged partnerships with 5 online job portals. Singaporeans can use verified employment history and training data in their careers and skills passport to apply for jobs on these job portals. The results are promising. Applicants with verified credentials are 1.5 times more likely to be shortlisted by hirers. In line with SWDA's expanded mandate, we will build ecosystem enablers such as data sharing mechanisms and accreditation frameworks to facilitate faster and better job matches. The fourth pillar, catering to diverse and ever-changing needs. Several members have asked how SWDA will serve the diverse needs of workers and employers. Ms. Yeo Wan Ling, Dr. Hamid Razak, Ms. Alistair Chen, Mr. Patrick Tay, Mr. Melvin Yong, Ms. He Ting Ru, and Ms. Jessica Tan have asked about worker segments such as caregivers, seniors, persons with disabilities, ex-offenders, and those who have experienced health setbacks. We will partner community organizations like SG Enable, Yellow Ribbon Singapore, and community development councils to reach the more vulnerable segments. And as Mr. Melvin Yong suggested, we are also studying ways to provide stronger support for more flexible work models, such as fractional work, that may better cater to their needs. Mr. Yip asked specifically about the role of NTUC and E2I. E2I operates 27 out of 31 touch points island-wide for career matching and advisory. NTUC is spearheading the Company Training Committee initiative, which involves $300 million funding to drive enterprise and workforce transformation. Echoing Mr. Desmond Chu, the labour movement will continue to be a strategic partner of SWDA in translating national strategies to practical support by providing high-touch support to different worker segments through employment facilitation, training, and workforce transformation. Now, for employers, they also have diverse needs depending on their industry size, sector, and business development plans. Mr. Mark Lee asked whether support will be differentiated for SMEs and large enterprises, and whether SWDA will retain sector-specific expertise. SWDA will tailor its strategies to better suit the different profiles of the companies that it serves. In line with suggestions from Ms. Yeo Wan Ling, Ms. Eileen Chong, Mr. Melvin Yong, Mr. Sean Low, Mr. Mark Lee, and Associate Professor Ho, SWDA will also explore ways to step up support for job redesign and on-job training, so that training is customized to different workplaces and different business models, helping our workers to take on higher value-added jobs. Ms. Yeo Wan Ling called for SWDA to support more companies in job redesign and workforce transformation, just like FairPrice Store of Tomorrow at Punggol. This will indeed be a priority for SWDA. And then to address Ms. Chong's question about how we will support skills-based HR practices, we've recently introduced tools like Talent Track and Talent Track Plus, which help employers assess the skills readiness of their workforce and identify suitable training interventions. Mr. Gerald Giam also asked, how will SWDA coordinate with the economic agencies under MTI? Today, WSG and SSG already work closely with MTI and sector agencies through established interagency coordination platforms. With the merger, we will build on these mechanisms to deepen this coordination even further, tightening the nexus between jobs and skills and between enterprise and workforce transformation. Mr. Giam, perhaps it's late in the evening, may have forgotten, I personally have a stake in this because I'm also a minister in the Ministry of Trade and Industry. So I wear two hats. Perhaps I'm the POH that he's talking about, striding two ministries, because I'm also the current Manpower Minister. So you can be assured on this point. Mr. Sean Low, Mr. Mark Lee, Ms. Alistair Chen, and Ms. Jessica Tan asked whether and how SWDA will work with the TAC's industry bodies and sectoral partners. Let me reassure all of you, that they will be key partners of SWDA in supporting employers, and they will play three important roles. You will not be limited to these three roles, but they'll play three very important roles. First, as advocates for the manpower needs of their sectors, their respective sectors. TAC and industry bodies will help SWDA sharpen its workforce development programs. Against the backdrop of recent global developments such as trade tariffs and Middle East oil crisis, SNAF and the Singapore Business Federation have provided timely insights on hiring sentiments and business outlook through dipstick business polls. This helped to inform the government's policy responses. Second, they will serve as key program partners that will increase the breadth and the depth of SWDA's coverage. SBF and SNAF, for example, have already been appointed as anchor program partners for the Enterprise Workforce Transformation Package. This is our response to Associate Professor Ho's question about how SWDA will scale impact across the large number of SMEs in different industries. On the third point, they will serve as multipliers, amplifying outreach to employers and driving mindset change on workforce transformation. SNAF has been co-leading tripartite efforts such as the Tripartite Work Group on Senior Employment and the Tripartite Work Group on Human Capital Capability Development, and can support efforts to engender mindset shifts towards the hiring of senior workers and HR practices. Now, members may be wondering how SWDA's approach to working with partners will be different from before. There will be two key shifts. First, what we partner on. Today, most partnerships are focused on training. WSG has also partnered on job matching, career guidance, and job redesign. But these partnerships have been more targeted and scoped. With SWDA, we will expand and deepen these partnerships to spur new innovations, raise the quality of career and employment services and training. Our initial efforts have begun through pilots under the Alliance for Action on Advancing Career and Employment Services, and we will continue to build on these. Second, who do we partner with? SSG works with about 500 training providers, while WSG has only a handful of appointed partners for career matching and guidance. So, with this merger, SWDA will broaden this network beyond training providers to include more recruitment agencies, online job portals, and other ecosystem players to diversify services. So the goal is for workers and employers to have more options, have better support, even as we safeguard and uplift the quality of service provision. Moving to the fifth group, which is more proactive, more anticipatory support. In a more volatile global environment, the needs of worker and employer segments evolve very rapidly. Ms. Alyssa Chen, Ms. Jessica Tan, Mr. Mark Lee asked how SWDA would play a more proactive and anticipatory role to prepare workers and businesses ahead of disruptions. Data will be the critical enabler. SWDA will tap on various data sources, including MOM's rich labor market data, demand signals from job postings, as well as training take-up. We can splice, we can fuse the data in new ways to triangulate and distill fresh jobs, as well as provide skills insights. These insights can then be applied to personalized services and deliver more targeted support proactively. We seek to leverage on these insights to help more individuals enter into good jobs, build careers with better prospects, and extend their career trajectories. And I explained earlier, SWDA will also work with a broader career and employment services and training ecosystem to create more value out of shared data through analysis or building of value-added services. Mr. Satyandi asked about the relationship between SWDA, NTUC, and SNAF, and if SWDA will engage them in devising and executing its plans. Ms. Yeo Wan Ling called on SWDA to establish regular contact with stakeholders to remain plugged in with ground realities. NTUC and SNAF and their networks, they have and they are formidable resources. SWDA will leverage with their resources, their networks, to intervene more decisively ahead of upcoming disruptions or downturns. And this is also why we recently announced, just last week, on Friday, the setup of a tripartite jobs council, co-chaired by NTUC, SNAF, and MOM, to bring our collective capabilities to bear on the challenges and the opportunities brought by AI. Many members today also spoke about AI. Ms. Yeo Wan Ling spoke about the importance of treating workers as co-creators for AI adoption to ensure better outcomes. Ms. Eileen Chong spoke about making job redesign a priority when companies integrate AI into their workflows. Later this evening, depending on what time we end, or tomorrow, this House will discuss how we can work together in an era where AI transformation is increasingly pervasive. And I will speak about the importance of concurrent enterprise and workforce transformation in making AI adoption more human-centric. Moving on to the sixth point, which is on what measurements of success do we look at. So several members indeed ask us, how will we measure SWDA's success? For individuals, our ultimate goal is to help Singaporeans enter into good jobs and progress in their careers. We will measure SWDA's effectiveness in doing so through indicators such as time to placement and wage growth, in addition to training and placement numbers. We already track these outcome indicators today to measure the effectiveness of our interventions. For example, about 9 in 10 career conversion program participants remain employed 24 months after embarking on the program. And about 6 in 10 of those who participated in these career conversion programs earn more than their last drawn salaries. For employers, we will look at outcomes on adoption of progressive practices in areas such as job redesign, on-job training, and skills-first hiring. As a first step, we have introduced the Singapore Opportunity Index to provide transparency to job seekers on employers who promote opportunity and deliver strong career outcomes for their workers. So, to Ms. Chong's point, we are tracking such indicators, and we will continue to do so. We will continue to tweak and refine and up the ante. At the economy level, SWDA will contribute to a more inclusive labour market with high resident labour force participation and sustained wage growth. Median wages have grown over the last decade, and we will do our best to extend that growth trajectory. While not so easily measured, we also want to engender a culture of lifelong learning and career health to take root in the DNA of the Singapore workforce. On my last 2 points, just bear with me. The 7th point on governance. On the SWDA board, Mr. Saktiandi asked about its composition and the knowledge it will bring. Mr. Sanjeev Kumar Tiwari asked whether there will be worker representation. The board will draw from diverse backgrounds: public sector representatives, senior business leaders from MNCs and local enterprises across different sectors, and key partners such as NTUC, SNEF, and the TACs. Now, beyond the board, we also plan to engage international experts so that our labour market programs are informed by global trends and by effective interventions elsewhere. The composition of the board will be announced ahead of SWDA's establishment. Moving on to the last group, transition and continuity. Mr. Mark Lee, Ms. Alyssa Chen, Ms. Jessica Tan, and Mr. Saktian Lee have asked about the impact of the transition on existing schemes, applications, and commitments. I would like to assure members that SSG and WSG's operations will be fully undertaken by SWDA from day one. We will ensure uninterrupted service delivery, and the existing grant and employment assistance commitments will be honoured. To the concerns raised by Mr. Mark Lee, Mr. Sean Low, and Ms. Yeo Wan Ling about potential overlaps, over time, we will work to rationalize programs and streamline the touch points to simplify the user journey. Specific to Mr. Yip Hon Wing and Associate Professor Terence Ho's questions on whether My Careers Future and My Skills Future will be streamlined, we will holistically review the user journey across the digital touch points to build a more seamless user experience with better signposting to guide users to the appropriate digital services. Mr. Saktiandi and Mr. Yip also asked about how the roles of SSG and WSG employees will change, while Ms. Alyssa Chen asked how frontline officers will be equipped to adopt a holistic instead of scheme-by-scheme mindset. We will organize SWDA by stakeholder segments so that those at the front line can provide more holistic support across jobs and skills for their clients. And then as SWDA builds a more integrated operating model, roles and structures will evolve. We have identified suitable roles for all officers, and we are committed to managing this with care. We will redeploy officers where their experience is most valuable, and we will develop those who need new skills to take on new roles. Our people have been the backbone of SSG and WSG's achievements. SWDA's success will depend on all of them and on bringing them alongside with us. Mr. Speaker, may I say a few words in Mandarin?
Dr. Tan, you have about 4 minutes left, just to let you know. If you need more than that, the Deputy Leader may want to move an exemption.
I think I'll need about 10 minutes.
And in that case, maybe I'll just ask Deputy Leader.
So, Speaker, may I see your consent and the general assent of members present to move that the proceedings on the item under discussion be exempted from the provisions under Standing Order 48.8 to remove the time limit in respect of Minister Tan See Leng's speech, please.
I give my consent. Does the Deputy Leader of the House have the general assent of honourable members present to so move? Deputy Leader, please proceed.
Speaker, I move that the proceedings on the item under discussion be exempted from the provisions of Standing Order number 48.8 to remove the time limit in respect of Minister Tan See Leng's speech, please.
The question is, as moved by the Deputy Leader of the House, those who agree say aye. Those who disagree say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Dr. Tan, you may resume.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The formation of SWDA is more than a change in the machinery of our government. It is a statement of intent that Singapore will never leave its workers alone in navigating an increasingly complex labour market. That we will build systems worthy of the trust that Singaporeans place in them. That we will measure ourselves not by the number of courses run or amounts of grants dispersed, but by whether people can find good jobs, grow in their careers, and face the future with confidence. We are doing this at a moment of great uncertainty. AI and technology are reshaping industries faster than we can predict. The global economic headwinds are real. The past uncertainties about career paths and job security are giving way to something significantly more fluid, and they are generating more anxiety, more apprehensions for many of us. But if you look at our history, Singapore has never thrived by waiting for the storm to pass. We thrive by building better ships. The SWDA is that one such ship, built to carry our workers and our economy through whatever comes next. I look forward, I invite all of you to come on board and let's sail together. Mr. Speaker, with that, I beg to move.
After more than 5 hours and 22 speeches, any clarifications for the Minister? Looks like Dr. Mr. Kenneth Tiong.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Speaker. Thank you, Minister. First of all, the Minister says that My Careers Future has 60,000 postings, aspires to 100,000. There's a widespread perception that job postings on My Careers Future is a compliance exercise rather than reflects genuine hiring channels. So how will the Minister ensure that more of these My Careers Futures postings are genuine vacancies? Second question, the Minister has not addressed my point on sectoral bargaining. Let me put the question more directly. The economic skill formation literature is quite clear that firms tend to underinvest in deep skills training when they face poaching risk. So they lose the worker the day after they've spent a lot of time training, putting through expensive training. So wage compression through sectoral bargaining is the established solution. So NTUC currently bargains at the enterprise level. So is it the government's position that NTUC should not bargain at the sectoral level, or that sectoral bargaining is unnecessary? Thank you.
Minister Tan.
I don't have the exact statistics in terms of the what the member was talking about, and I would ask him to also point me perhaps to the statistics that says that all the advertisements on My Career Future is just a paper exercise. If he can highlight any specific company or instance of companies posting on this particular portal as a paper exercise, we will not hesitate to investigate the company. But rather than make a blank statement, I think come up with the specifics. With regards to poaching risks, I want to also share a different perspective. Companies that invest in the training of their workers, whether they work through the NTUC CTCs or they work through our job redesign package, work through WSG's career conversion programs, have seen better retention for their employees. And in fact, many of the companies that engage in this type of training tend to attract more talent into their companies against companies who don't. Now, I have been in private sector all my life. A certain amount of poaching exists, even amongst doctors, medical professionals. They move from groups to groups. But that doesn't mean that because of that, the entire industry is therefore at risk of being undermined or competed away. I think perhaps I can share more of these insights separately, perhaps inviting Mr. Tiong to file a separate PQ at another sitting, given the fact that we've just finished 5 hours of this debate. Thank you.
Mr. Jerogiam.
So, can the Minister elaborate a bit more about how SWDA will enhance the job search assistance program? Specifically, will career counselors move beyond basic resume editing and portal referrals to leverage real-time vacancy data for proactive matching and advocate for candidates? Thank you.
Minister Tan.
Today, SWDA will leverage on MOM's labor data. The different engines that we have, the different portals that we have within the umbrella of the government provides significant opportunities for AI-powered recommendations, first and foremost on the jobs and skills that's needed. And this will help users to better plan for their upskilling and career needs. NTUC has its own AI career coach, which I think just now one of the labor movement or labor MPs have shared. On top of that, the career and skills passports with the skills that's been recorded can be more precisely mapped to the different sectoral skills framework to allow for a more differentiated, a more precise matching. A lot of that enhancement of that data coming together will allow us to therefore be able to provide a shorter time to matching and at the same time a more precise matching and more targeted towards skills-based hiring compared to what it is currently. And we will continue to measure that and provide regular updates.
Ms. Lin Chong.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank the Minister for his clarification regarding measurements. I'm actually really heartened to hear that MOM is actively tracking the outcomes for individuals who undergo the career conversion programs. But I also would like to point out that the number of individuals covered by the career conversion programs are only a small subset of Singaporeans who do undergo many other kinds of career-related training under the SkillsFuture scheme. So I would like to ask if the Minister will also like to confirm then that the new agency will indeed also be extending the tracking of these outcomes and whether it is working for these other Singaporeans who are undergoing training, so that Singaporeans can have a clearer picture of what works well, what is not working. And I hope the Minister can agree that, by collecting and publicizing data like that it will only help to further reinforce the importance of lifelong learning and upskilling among Singaporeans once they see the numbers for themselves. Thank you.
Minister Tan.
I think I provided just now in my roundup speech about the impact of the career conversion programs, which is organized by WSG. And I did not add NTUC's, CTC's success rates as well. I don't have it with me. Of course, a SecGen will be able to provide that. But suffice to say, I think, to further add on to your other colleague, Mr. Giam's earlier point, the SWDA's integrated intelligence function will provide forward-looking signals on what roles and what skill sets are in demand. So then this will allow students and even their families in the IHLs to make more informed decisions. Now, SWDA will also make the jobs and the skills intelligence accessible through its digital platform, through the multiple career advisory touchpoints. And guidance is available at the point of decision making, not only after they have entered a particular job itself. So with that, I believe that matching should be even more pervasive, and I think it will reach out to a wider segment of the population. On top of that, we are not just focusing on the workforce. We are also focusing on the employers. I've also announced at budget this year, we are enhancing the enterprise workforce transformation package. And the grants will tie the companies to specific deliverables with regards to job redesign. The details will be further shared with once SWDA comes into existence in July. I hope that gives you that reassurance. Thank you.
Mr. Giam.
I thank the Minister for responding to my question just now. I'm actually glad to hear that there will be more precise matching with the help of SWDA's, what he calls the integrated intelligence function. But can I ask if this function will be provided to all job seekers who approach SWDA or its agencies like E2Y to seek for job assistance? Because it wouldn't be helpful if only a small proportion of job seekers get to benefit from it, while the rest are just provided with resume touch-ups or referrals to portals.
Minister Tan.
I think core to the success of this entire exercise requires mindset change. And I did make that a very clear point when I first started my speech. We have, over the past few years, rolled out many initiatives, including career health. I think the base we encourage all of our Singapore residents to do is to really take an interest in their own career health, going into their own career health to update whether it is their own training, and look at what are the adjacencies in terms of the skills training that will be required to keep up with the latest development in the industry and economic development. When they continue to keep up, our portal will also be able to push courses to them, because we would have triangulated from the TACs, from the employers, from industry, as to how the industry is moving, in what directions they're moving, and whether regardless of what we do, some sectors will face a sunset phase. This happens in all businesses. And for them, this would then allow them to decide whether they want to upgrade themselves in a different industry, allow them to pivot across. As long as they go on that career health, going on to Career Finder, SWDA will work with them every step of the way.
All right, I believe all the clarifications have been addressed. The question is that the bill be now read a second time. Those who agree say aye. Those who disagree say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it.
Skills and Workforce Development Agency Bill.
Committee stage what day?
Now, sir, I move that Parliament will immediately resolve itself into a committee on the bill.
The question is that Parliament will immediately resolve itself into a committee on the bill. Those who agree say aye. Those who disagree say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it.